Imagine a world where the food you expect to find every day becomes harder to afford, harder to grow, or suddenly unavailable. This is not a prediction that every shelf will be empty tomorrow. It is a warning about global food supply. Around the world, farmers, families, and communities are already feeling pressure from rising prices, disrupted harvests, water stress, and fragile supply chains. In this video, we will look at why this problem matters, how it can affect everyday life, and what can still be done before the risks become much worse. Food is not simply a product on a shelf. It begins with land, water, seeds, workers, weather, storage, transport, and markets. When pressure grows in one part of that chain, the effects can travel far beyond the farm. Global food supply matters because it influences the price, quality, and availability of the food people depend on. The biggest impact usually falls on low-income families and small farmers, who have the least room to absorb higher costs or a failed harvest. The risks are connected. Rising prices, disrupted harvests, water stress, and fragile supply chains can happen separately, but they often make one another worse. A dry season can weaken crops. A flood can remove valuable topsoil. Rising costs can prevent farmers from buying the inputs they need for the next season. This does not mean every farm will fail, but it does mean that farms have less protection when a shock arrives. The more frequently shocks occur, the harder it becomes for farmers to recover. For farmers, this is personal. A failed season can mean lost income, debt, fewer animals, or less money to plant again. Small farms are especially vulnerable because they may have limited savings, insurance, storage, or access to credit. Farmers are not passive victims. Many are adapting with new crops, better irrigation, improved soil care, and more careful planning. But adaptation takes knowledge, investment, and time. Those resources are not equally available everywhere. The impact eventually reaches consumers. When harvests are smaller or transport is disrupted, supplies can tighten and prices can rise. A problem in one region can affect another because modern food systems are connected through trade. This is why global food supply is not only an agricultural issue. It is also an issue of public health, household budgets, jobs, stability, and national security. The choices made on farms today can influence what people can afford to eat tomorrow. The problem becomes worse when food is lost after harvest, when storage is poor, or when supply chains depend too heavily on a small number of places. Waste also matters. Food that never reaches a plate has still used land, water, energy, and labor. Delaying action can make future solutions more expensive. The goal is not to create fear. The goal is to recognize the warning signs early, before a local problem develops into a larger food emergency. There are practical solutions. Farmers can improve soil health, save water, diversify crops, and use weather information to plan more effectively. Better storage and transport can reduce losses. Researchers can develop crops that are more resilient to heat, drought, and disease. Governments and businesses can invest in rural infrastructure, agricultural training, fair markets, and risk protection for farmers. Technology can help, but technology works best when it is affordable and adapted to local conditions. The future of global food supply is not decided yet. The risks are real, but so are the solutions. Stronger farms, healthier soil, smarter water use, less food waste, and better support for farmers can make the food system more resilient. The question is whether the world will act early enough. What do you think is the most urgent threat? Climate change, water shortages, soil damage, food waste, or rising prices? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more videos about food, farming, and the future of our planet.